Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I have all the details of the Russia-United States talks and Ukraine-United States talks, Monday and Tuesday. They came out with all the details now. And the details, I gotta tell you, are very much in favor of Russia, a little bit Ukraine, and United States of America really did a good job in maneuvering around their demands. So I have here about 15 articles with various titles, obviously, and I will take you chronologically over what happened. So Monday, the Russians and the Americans held talks in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, and then Tuesday, today, the Ukrainians and the Americans held talks in Riyadh. And now they came together and I said, this is what has been agreed upon. Ceasefire in the Black Sea, fertilizers and non-military facilities, energy facilities that are out of touch in Russia. So, let me start with the first article. This comes from ABC News. This is from today, March 25, 2025, 12:40 p.m. Russia and Ukraine agreed to, quote-unquote, eliminate the use of force in the Black Sea, White House says following talks. Fantastic, fantastic. So they eliminate the use of force. Now, this is what they agreed upon. That's one thing. The other thing is implementing it. All right? So this is the first one. Following separate talks with the United States in Saudi Arabia this week, Russia and Ukraine have agreed to eliminate the use of force in the Black Sea, according to readouts from the White House. Russia and Ukraine have agreed to ensure safe navigation, eliminate the use of force, and prevent the use of commercial vessels for military purposes in the Black Sea, according to the readouts. So, safe navigation, that means commercial. Eliminate the use of force. So we're not going to bomb anybody unless the commercial vessels are used for military purpose. Who might use commercial vessels for military purposes? I give you a hint. Not Russia. That is the Ukrainians. So you make your own decision on this one. All right. So let's see the next article. The Hill. White House says Russia and Ukraine agree to eliminate the use of force in the Black Sea. So again, they came to an agreement to eliminate the use of force in Black Sea, as well as strikes on energy facilities. So not only they agreed to eliminate the use of force in the Black Sea, as well as end strikes on energy facilities, making one of the most significant steps the Trump administration has seen towards a stop in fighting. And here I will have Sputnik, Russia, US talks on Ukraine settlement, complete list of energy facilities Russia, US agreed should be off limits to attacks. That's going to be the last article. Next one. NBC News. Trump's promise of a quick end to Ukraine war gets a reality check after talks end with no deal. These are the enemies of the people, right there. Ukraine and Russia have agreed in theory to a limited 30-day ceasefire, but President Vladimir Putin has essentially, when you see essentially, that means not really, it's just we interpret it as such, right? Essentially demand Ukraine surrender and continue to bomb it. These guys are liars. And I'm looking here to this, right here. This is why I picked up this article, actually. The media has been briefed to expect a statement following discussions in Saudi Arabia, but no such written conclusions was released. In an interview with Russian state television, the first deputy chairman of Russia's defense committee, Vladimir Chizhov, blamed the position taken by Ukraine. They, and I'm quoting, they sat for 12 hours and seemed to have agreed on joint statement. He talks about the Russians and Americans. However, this was not adopted due to Ukraine's position. Very characteristic and symptomatic. You got it? So it was not, as they say, Putin here. It was the Ukrainians. Next. Ukrainska Pravda. This is March 25th, as 1908. So it's 7 p.m., 7:08 p.m. Russia rejects unconditional ceasefire in the Black Sea after meeting with the US. That means we're not going to give you anything. We're going to take everything. Russia has put forward a number of demands, of course. They are winning, therefore they're in a position of dictating, to agree to a ceasefire in the Black Sea, which was a topic of a meeting between representatives of the Russian Federation, the United States, and Ukraine in Saudi Arabia on 23 to 25 March, so Monday to Tuesday. Sources. The Kremlin, in a statement following the meeting with the U.S. delegation, as reported by European Pravda, and I'm quoting, Moscow confirmed an earlier statement by the White House that the parties had agreed to, and I quote, ensure safe navigation, eliminate the use of force, and prevent the use of commercial vessels for military purposes in the Black Sea. The statement also noted that the United States will help restore Russia's access to the world market for agriculture and fertilizer exports. Did you hear that? So that means all good, and you didn't hear squat from the other articles I mentioned. Not from the ABC, not from the Hill, and not from NBC, obviously, because they are the enemy of the people. But hey, these guys say right here, will help restore Russia's access to the world market for agriculture and fertilizer exports. So far, who won? The Americans, the Ukrainians, or the Russians? Well, I have more. Remember, they agreed not to strike energy facilities in Russia, and they named them. All right, you can make shit up. All right, let's go to the next one. The liars from the Telegraph. Russia rejects Trump's new ceasefire unless sanctions lifted. So I thought they already agreed with that. So they said, you know what? No ceasefire unless sanctions lifted. Again, this is from Tuesday, March the 25th. They're celebrating, I don't know exactly what, but let's go. Vladimir Putin refused to implement a new ceasefire deal in the Black Sea unless Donald Trump gets international sanctions on Russia lifted, which I think it happens already. Russia demanded access to global food and fertilizer markets and its reintegration into international banking systems as its price for a maritime truce with Ukraine. You got it? But hey, the previous article said the statement also noted the United States will help restore Russia's access to the world market for agriculture and fertilizer export. So yes, they did it. They did it. Next one. Reuters. Russia says food and fertilizer sanctions must be lifted for Black Sea deal. It was already lifted, so that means another victory for the bad guys. Russia, the world's top wheat and fertilizer exporter, said on Tuesday that Western sanctions against companies involved in food and fertilizer exports and shipping would have to be lifted as a precondition for a Black Sea maritime security deal. So I think this Black Sea maritime security deal was already agreed upon. That means all this food and fertilizer exports and shipping have been lifted. The deal was reached at talks in Riyadh on Monday. The US agreed to help to restore Russia's access to the world's market for agriculture and fertilizer exports. So Russia won again. Next one, Ukrainska Pravda. Joint US-Russia statement following Riyadh meeting not adopted due to Ukraine's stance, Moscow claims. So that's the same thing that the other guy said, I think right here. Where is it? Where that bad dude? All right, where are you, baby doll? Right here. He said Vladimir Chizhov. Remember, they sat for 12 hours. So they're talking about these guys did not want it. Russia has claimed a joint statement following consultations between the Russian and American delegations in Riyadh was not adopted because of Ukraine's stance. And that's exactly what I said already. And we go to the next topic. Ukrinform reports US-Ukraine agreed on safe navigation in Black Sea. Now, why US and Ukraine agreed and not Russia and Ukraine agreed? Why? Because as you can see here, the Black Sea, where we are talking about, United States is this, and United States is this, United States is this, United States is this, United States is everywhere. No, United States has nothing here. But nevertheless, the US and Ukraine agreed. You don't have to agree. You're not around, US. That means, as I told you, it's not Ukraine versus Russia. Okay, is it United States versus Russia, United States and its vassal states. The United States and Ukraine have agreed to ensure safe navigation, eliminate the use of force, and prevent the use of commercial vessels for military purposes in the Black Sea. US and Ukraine. What was this? Again, Russia and Ukraine agreed to eliminate the use of force in the Black Sea. When these guys say here, what? Oh, the United States and Ukraine? And then what was the other one right here? White House says Russia and Ukraine agreed to eliminate the use of force. And what these guys say? United States and Ukraine have agreed. All right, let's move on. New voice of Ukraine. Ukraine and Russia agree naval ceasefire in Black Sea. Yeah, because the Americans told the Ukrainians what exactly will do, because they already spoke with the Russians in the other articles that I mentioned. That means you do what I tell you to do. This is the defense minister, Mr. Stromboli from Pinocchio. Mr. Stromboli is the defense minister of the Ukrainian nation, and he is a Tatar. Okay, great. It's like you have an Iranian being the defense minister of Israel, right? Nah, you're not gonna see that ever. All right, through United States mediation. No, it's not mediation. United States mediated, spoke with Moscow, and informed Kiev what to do. But hey, as I said, these guys are making it look like they mediate. No, my friends, they don't mediate. They want to save face, and the Russians are allowing them. That is, United States with its vassal states try to destroy Russia and take over its resources and the military arsenal, and then go to China. That was the whole thing here. They failed. So now they say, okay, let's drop everything on Ukraine, and we somehow are the peacemakers. You're not the peacemakers. You are the losers. That's how it is. You make the decisions for the other side, and then you say you pass it to the Ukrainians like the Ukrainians agreed. No, the Ukrainians did what you told them to do in 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 20, 20, until now. You lost. The Ukrainians got burned real bad, and now the Americans, the sponsors, come and tell them, you know what, right now you have to do this. You have to give the Russians territory, you have to give the Russians this, you have to hold elections, you have to give us access to your, energy infrastructure, power plants, nuclear power plants, and we're going to take everything left what the Russians didn't take already. And by the way, you will not be in NATO. Does it sound like a victory for the Ukrainians? Well, I don't know. If you think so, I want you to call yourself Ukraine. I want you to call Russia your neighbor that you don't get along with. And I want to call the United States of America the bank. All right? Who wants to fuck your neighbor? And through you. And they can't do it. All right, let's go to the next one. Russia Today. White House reveals details of US-Russia talks in Riyadh. And again, the White House has released a statement on the US-Russia negotiations in Saudi Arabia, shedding some light, not all of it, on 12-hour talks held on Monday. The bilateral technical level talks focused on the situation in the Black Sea, as well as the agreement to hold strikes on energy facilities on Russia and Ukraine, proposed by US President Donald Trump, the White House said on Tuesday. The United States, and I'm quoting, and Russia have agreed, not Ukraine, to ensure safe navigation, eliminate the use of force, and prevent the use of commercial vessels for military purpose in the Black Sea, the statement says. So the Americans and the Russians agreed for this right here. But where are the Americans here? Oh, maybe you don't see the southern part. Where are the Americans here? There's no Americans. Yeah, they're here. Yes, they're here. Yes, they're here. Yes, they're here. And they want to be all over. They want to call this Mare Nostri. You know what Mare Nostri is? That means our sea. The Romans had the Mediterranean Sea as Mare Nostri, our sea. Why? They want to have it all, and they didn't, and they will not. All right, let's go back here. And it says here, the US also pledged, and I'm quoting, pledged, as Lavrov said, we want to see everything written down, not we want to see pledges and promises. And I'm quoting, to help restore Russia's access to the world market for agriculture and fertilizer exports, lower maritime insurance costs, and enhance access to ports and payment systems for such transactions, according to the White House. That means these guys won. Working towards achieving a durable and lasting peace, because we couldn't destroy you. Got it? To renew the deal, Moscow needs firm guarantees from the US, which can only result from a direct order direct order issued by Washington to Zelensky and his team, Lavrov said. Explained, pointing to Kiev's habit, not only Kiev, the US also, breaking promises. Russia's position now, and I'm quoting, is simple. We cannot take anyone's word at face value, he said in an interview with Channel 1. We need the clearest, most specific, verifiable, working guarantees and mechanism to revive the deal, Lavrov said. We want the grain and fertilizer market to be predictable so that no one tries to kick us out of this market. Got it? So who won? Let's go to the next one. Russia Today. Russia and US agree list of emergency facilities for truce with Ukraine. Kremlin. Nuclear power plants, oil and gas facilities, hydroelectric power plants and other installations are all covered. We'll see if the Ukrainians will agree. The Kremlin has released a comprehensive list of energy facilities subject to a temporary US brokered truce between Russia and Ukraine. The pause in long-range strikes against such targets took effect on March 18 and will last for 30 days, according to Moscow. The types of facilities covered under the truce include oil and gas processing and storage facilities, including pumping stations and pipelines, electricity producing and distribution sites, nuclear power plants, and the dams of hydroelectric plants. Got it? The suspension of strikes was originally proposed by Trump. On Monday, the Caspian Pipeline Consortium condemned a Ukrainian attack on the Kropotskaya oil piping station, a vital energy site in Russia Krasnodar region. CPC operates a major pipeline system carrying crude oil from fields in Kazakhstan and Russia's Caspian region to the Russian Black Sea. Now, the project is jointly owned by several stakeholders from Russia, as well as such as US oil giants as Chevron and ExxonMobil. You got it? So that means if you strike us, you strike and that is located in Krasnodar, in this area. This right here is the, how do you call it? This is the Caucasus right here, let's put it this way. And this is Krasnodar Krai, this is the Black Sea. This is the Caspian Sea, a corner. So that runs this way, the pipe, right here, and ends up here. So the Ukrainians bombarded, and they are part of the Americans, Chevron and ExxonMobil. That means you can't do it. Sputnik, Russia, US talks on Ukraine settlement. Complete list of energy facilities Russia and US agree should be off limits to attacks. Here you have. Oil refineries. Now, from now on, if you hear the Ukrainians attacking oil refineries, it's a violation. Oil and gas pipelines, again. Storage facilities, including pumping stations. And remember, that was right here. Pumping station, right here. That was the pumping station attacked. Electricity generation and transmission infrastructure, including power plants, substations, transformers, and distribution points. Nuclear power plants. Dams of hydroelectric power stations. The temporary moratorium is to be in effect for 30 days, starting retroactively from March 18, 2025, and may be extended by mutual agreement. You got it? So who won? Well, I might say we all won. Then obviously the next ones are the Russians won, then maybe the Ukrainians won, and then lastly the Americans won. Why? The Americans were the ones behind all of it, together with its baboons in London. So, this is it, my friends. This is all the information you have as of now about Monday and Tuesday's negotiations between the Russians and Americans, and then Americans and the Ukrainians. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.